Namaste. Welcome to the Soma Matha online Sangha. Join us in practice for inner peace, which brings clarity in life, improving health, relationships, success, and prosperity, and which prepares the mind for true meditation, which awakens intuitive knowing and spiritual sight. Each week we are announcing upcoming events and opportunities to participate in the activities of the Soma Matha organization based near Richmond, Virginia. Led by Swami Gananatamritananda, the Soma Matha is dedicated to spreading authentic teachings on spiritual yoga, mantra, meditation, Ayurveda, and other Vedic sciences for the peace of the world. We are working to build a temple for goddess Shakambhari Devi. Each week we will be sharing a teaching from Swamiji, doing a group mantra practice and meditation, and conducting a simple puja or prayer ceremony for the goddess to humbly supplicate her to bestow her blessing upon the Sangha. A Sangha is a spiritual community who come together to support one another in their practice. Each individual gains strength in their practice from the collective effort of the group. Sangha feeds our practice. It nourishes us and empowers our efforts. It smooths and balances the challenges we face as it lifts our consciousness into subtler realms. Namaste, everyone. I'm Grant Ottinger. I've been working with Swamiji for a few years, and he's asked me to lead the Sangha online since internet connection is weak at the property and live broadcast difficult. Swami will be watching the Sangha and participating in the group practices and sending video teachings for the group each week. To receive, we must give. Our efforts to provide this virtual space and to publish the many free teachings available on the website, YouTube channel, and Facebook pages are dependent upon your support. We are encouraging all Sangha participants to formalize their connection by becoming Sangha members and pledging their monthly support through our Patreon. There are 5 different tiers of support, so you can contribute according to your ability. All Sangha members will receive access to additional teachings and opportunities for support in their practice offered through Patreon. If you want to deepen your practice and your connection to the Sangha, please visit our Patreon and pledge your support. The link is provided in the description of this live video. So for news, the estate sale will be happening in a few weeks. Right now, the auction company is taking photographs and preparing to list the items for sale. If you are interested in purchasing any antiques or other items from the property, please watch our social media for when the auctions are live. We are still looking for volunteers to help prepare the property for sale, so if you're interested, please reach out to us via our website, somamatha.org. With cases of COVID rising throughout the world and cases in India at an all-time high, Swami is asking people to light an oil or ghee lamp and recite 108 repetitions of the Mahamrityunjaya mantra for world healing. If 108 repetitions is too many, please do whatever you can. Reach out to us via the website for questions about this practice. We are also continuing to raise funds to help with recurring bills at the property, as well as funds for a new property. Our goal of raising money to purchase a property suitable for public worship and Vedic ceremony is certainly possible, but may not be easy. So far, we have only raised $20,000 of our goal to raise $300,000 by July 13th. Time is running out before we must move from this property into whatever space we can afford. We would love to be able to move into a space suitable for worship, growing plants, herbs, and flowers, and for taking care of all our animals. But we can only move into such a space if we have the funds to do so. Please help us in our fundraising efforts to continue the work of the Soma Matha by visiting the Help Us Move link below and donating generously. Now we will share a recorded teaching from Swamiji.
So we are talking today about the 8th of the 10 yamas of yoga. The yamas are the restraints that we observe before we can begin the higher practices of yoga. And we've talked about already 7 of the 10. And so the 8th one is Arjava. Arjava means straightforwardness. It means being direct, representing oneself honestly, accurately. It's similar to the one we discussed before, Satya, truth. But it's a little different because it's being straightforward, being honest. We've got to avoid deception in subtler forms. We deceive ourselves in our mind. We deceive others. Some good examples nowadays could be on the social media or on the dating sites. If people put a photograph of themselves that's from an earlier time period, or that if people go out and they wear the makeup on their face to cover up blemishes, or in the media, people are putting images of people and they do the Photoshop. This is all a subtle form of deception. Even if in the case of transgender people, they're dressing differently to make their body look different than it is, and they're taking hormones to cover up as the Lord made the body. I don't mean to say people can't identify with a different gender if they feel more comfortable to do so. I can't criticize that. I myself feel more comfortable to say we. Sometimes I say I just for clarity, because I say we and people say, who are you talking about? But I don't identify as single. I identify as plural. So who am I to criticize or judge? Really, the soul has no gender. The soul is neither male nor female. So if a person feels more male, maybe they're more male. And what is a male? We have these societal standards. But when the point is, though, when people try to conceal who they are and represent themselves differently, when people post the degrees that they earned in college, or they put the certifications on their business card, or when the gurus put all the titles before their name, His Holiness Paramahamsa Maharajji, all these kind of things. This is a subtle form of deception. This defies the practice of Arjava. We are people. We don't need to put degrees on the wall to show people we have some accomplishment. It really diminishes who we truly are when we dress to look like other people. And you know, there is some, don't get me wrong, I think we've got to dress the part. My Guruji used to tell a story. He said if a person is going down the street and a random person on the street says, stop in the name of the law, stop. Would that person stop? No, they'd look at the person, they'd look at what they're wearing normal clothing, they'd say, this person's crazy or something, or they're trying to cause me trouble, I'll not stop. But if the person is wearing the police uniform and they say stop in the name of the law, the people will stop, because they take that seriously. They think that person is ordained to be the police officer, that he's been trained and he's been tested for his psychological evaluation, and then he's been rewarded the badge and the legal right to do things that other people are not legally permitted to do. And hopefully he's honoring the very serious commitment that he's taken, and he's probably been given a weapon to use. And so when he says stop, if you don't stop, he may stop you with his weapon, and he's got the legal right to do so. And so people take that seriously, but the uniform that he wears signifies. And so people will judge a person based upon how they look. If a person's wearing dhoti, angavastram, or sari, then people will look and they'll say, that's a very spiritual person. Even if they're not spiritual, the impression is created. We've got to dress the part. If we go to a bank and we want to get a loan, it may be wise to wear a suit. When we bought this property for our temple, I bought a suit so I could go to the closing and sit with the lawyer and sign the papers wearing the suit, because people look at that and then they say, oh, this is a serious business person. You go to the bank, they say, we can give this person a loan for the mortgage. Otherwise, you go wearing the dhoti, they say, uh-oh, He might be sitting in the ashram doing dhyanams all day, has no money. How can he possibly pay back this loan? You won't get the loan. We've got to dress the part. We should look neat and tidy. There's nothing wrong with shaving the beard. We've got to trim the beard. I need to trim the beard. It's getting long. The hairs are hanging down and it obscures when I try to put the food into the mouth. We've got to trim the beard. We've got to trim the hair. We've got to trim the nails. I probably could use to trim the nails too before they break off. But I'm not so focused on all these outer things. Maybe that's a problem of mine. Not enough am I even focused on the outer things sometimes. I've got to be careful to stay focused. But there's nothing wrong. We can shave the beard and we can have a different style. We could shave a goatee, mustache, whatever. We could grow the beard a little bit, but even then we've got to trim it, We can have some variation. We don't have to copy everyone else, but we really shouldn't copy everyone else. When we try to do things to make us look different than we are, if we dye the hair, when the beard hairs, they start to get gray, and someone said to me, why don't you dye the hairs or cut out the gray hairs? And I said, why? They said, well, people might think you're getting old. And I said, well, I am getting old. I said, the body is getting old. I'm not getting old. The body's getting old. That's okay. I said, really, I look at the beard and I see the white hairs coming. And I just think of my guru because he had a big white beard. And so when I look in the mirror, I get a little happy because I remember my guru. So it makes me very happy. But if I was to dye the beard hair a different color, or shave it off, or whatever, I'd be concealing the identity. It's just like when the men start to lose the hair on the top, they go a little bald, and then they shave the head. They say, I'm not bald, I'm just cool, I have a shaved head. It's subtle deception. And so we've got to be careful how we present ourselves to people in this, and we've got to be careful to evaluate sincerely ourselves. We've got to know ourselves. This really deepens the practice of honesty. If we pay careful attention, a lot of people, they act very differently around their family, around their friends. They may have different groups of friends, and those groups don't meet. With one group, they act in one way, and they talk about certain things, and in another group, they act in another way. We should always act as ourselves. We should be ourselves, and we shouldn't conceal our life. Any friends that you have to conceal some aspect of your life from, that's not a good friend. It's better to let that friend move on if they want to, and to be open and honest with people. I think we spoke about before, but also another form of subtle deception that's creeping in is with loans and borrowing money that we don't have any plans to pay off, any way to pay off. And people are doing this, and they're being taught even as children to do this, because to go to college, a lot of people need to borrow a lot of money. They don't have a job. They don't know what they want to study. They don't know what they want to do for a living. How can they possibly be planning to pay off this student loan? They say, maybe I'll get a job and then I'll pay it off. This is deception, subtle deception. If we take a loan, we should have, ideally, we wouldn't take a loan, but sometimes it's necessary the way society is structured now. If you need to get a house, you might need to take a loan, but you should have some plan to pay it off. You should say, we have this income from this source and this income from this source, and we put that together and we can afford to make our payments, and within a certain time we'll pay it off. Maybe we can pay it off sooner. We should try to get rid of these debts as quickly as we can. But we definitely should have a plan. But we need to know ourselves and know our true desires and our true motivations and our true interests. A lot of times people don't even know it. I've seen people doing so many things that in reality they didn't even want to do. I've seen people to study martial arts. I've seen several times young men to study the martial arts because they think it will impress their father or make their father respect them more or something. And then they practice for a while and they realize they don't even want to be doing it. I've seen guys that act like they like athletics and sports because they think they're supposed to be tough, to be cool. We've got to stop doing things like this. Really, There's nothing wrong. If a guy likes I like flowers. I'm out in the garden growing daffodils, irises. They're beautiful, and they cheer people up, and we can offer it in the puja. We need it for the puja. And so, there's nothing wrong with a man liking flowers, and like for a man to conceal that because he's in certain company, he's afraid he'll be judged. This is a subtle deception. This is what we have to guard against in the practice of yoga. It seems a little the same as honesty, but being straightforward is a little bit different. Just to tell people, if they ask you a question, tell them honestly, openly, honestly. And again, we don't have to tell people hurtful things. If you have bad thoughts about a person, keep it to yourself. If you don't have something nice to say, you don't need to say anything at all. But some key also to this practice is not to talk excessively, to be succinct, to say what's necessary, and to say no more. You don't have to tell everyone everything or disclose all the personal details. We have to have some wisdom as well. If you've made mistakes and you did crimes in the past and you've reformed and you've stopped doing that, there's no need to tell everyone about that. If you go telling everyone that, they'll think that you have some problems or you're still doing the crimes. Obviously, you don't want to present that information in a job interview, but if someone asks you directly about it, you should have the courage to tell them and explain to them all about it, how that situation changed you and made you into a better person, and how you've reformed yourself from those ways. And then that may get them to like you even more as a candidate for the job. Or if it's judgmental people, you may learn that quickly, and it saves you from a bad situation down the road. People have a lot of fear of what others will think. They have a lot of fear of how others will judge them and all that kind of thing. Really, as you grow in wisdom, you'll see it's better to just be judged quickly and let those people move on, and rather than to be expecting these judgmental people to be any different than they actually are. We can't have relationships based upon lies with ourselves and with others, but we've got to really know ourselves to be able to really practice this. And so that's some key as well. We've got to pay attention to our reaction to things, and we've got to be introspective. We've got to look within and always pay attention to what we're feeling, what we're doing in our mind. And the more we see, the more we know, the more we can truly practice this practice, Arjava. Om.
Thank you, Swami. We have finished our recitation of the Gayatri Mantra for Shakambari Devi. And now for our Japam practice, we will be doing the Devi Panchakshari. The Devi Panchakshari mantra is the 5-syllable mantra of the goddess. It is the same as the sacred Panchakshara mantra Om Namah Shivaya, with the addition of the Shakti Bij Hreem. It uplifts consciousness to the highest state of peace and bliss. It empowers our spiritual practices and grants liberation from all troubles. Though its literal meaning is Om, I bow to the goddess who empowers divine peace and consciousness, whose seed syllable is Hreem. True understanding of a mantra is in the spiritual experience it bestows to the seekers, as it elevates their level of awareness through dedicated practice over time.
We will do 108 repetitions of the mantra. Om Hreem Namah Shivaya. 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 Om Hrim 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 Shivaya. Om Hrim Namah 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 Shivaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Now we will practice a little meditation. The instructions for the meditation are to sit silently, with the spine straight, the shoulders back and relaxed. Close the eyes and allow yourself to see the inner light of the divine radiating from your heart. If you do not see it, feel it. If distracting thoughts or feelings come into the mind, allow them to be and witness them without hesitation, without judgment, without analysis. Allow the light of the divine to heal them, bringing deep peace and wisdom. Practice sitting in the inner light, which is bright like 10 million suns. In light, all darkness vanishes. Let this light heal you. Invite that experience and allow it to guide your consciousness and impel your actions for the highest good of the three realms. Om. Om. Puja is the traditional system of offerings, coupled with mantras and visualizations revealed by the sages, to help people seek the assistance of divine beings in their lives and spiritual practice. Puja ceremonies can be simple, as in the case of the offerings made daily in the homes of millions of Hindus, or extremely complicated, as are the rituals of temple consecration, which require the participation of hundreds of devotees and dozens of well-trained priests. The oil lamps, fruits, flowers, water, herbal incense, and other offerings provide prana, or subtle nutrients, for the devas and other inner realm beings to send their blessings to the physical realm. The sacred mantras open a channel to the inner realms. The effects of puja are powerful to bring about peace and healing. During puja, problems are mysteriously resolved, and answers to difficult questions arise spontaneously by the grace of the many inner plane beings working to fulfill our prayer, empowered by the sacred mantras and offerings. We are conducting a simple Pancha Puja of 5 offerings. These offerings relate to the 5 elements and are Pushpa, a flower, which symbolizes the ether element, Gandha, sandalwood paste, connected with the earth element, Thupa, incense, symbolic of the air element, Deepa, light, symbolizing fire, and Naivedyam, food relating to water.
Om Adya Purvokta Evam Gunavisheshena Vishishtayam Asyam Shubhatithau Sri Soma Matha Sanghasya Asmakam Sahakutumbhanam Kshemasthirya Virya Vijaya Ayura Roga Aiswaryanam Abhivriddhartham Shri Shakambhari Devi Prasada Siddhyartham Yatha Shaktya Shri Shakambhari Devi Pancha Pujam Karisye Om Apa Upasprisya Om Jata Veda Zezunavama Soma Marathi Hato Nidahati Vedaha Sanah Parshadati Durgani Vishvanaveva Sindhum Duritatyaknihi Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Asmin Chitrapathe Sri Shakambhari Devim Avahayami Sthapayami Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Gandhan Dharayami Gandhasyopari Haridra Kumkumam Samarpayami Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Pushpam Pujayami Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Dhupam Agrapayami Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Deepam Darshayami Om Amritamastu Amritopastaranamasi Om Pranaya Swaha Om Apanaya Swaha Om Vyanaya Swaha Om Udanaya Swaha Om Samanaya Swaha. Om Brahmane Swaha. Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha. Naivedyam Nivedayami. Tambulam Nivedayami. Amritapaniyam Samarpayami. Om Yopam Pushpam Veda. Pushpavan Prajavahan Pashuman Bhavati. Chandramava Apam Pushpam. Pushpavan Prajavahan Pashuman Bhavati. Ya evam Veda. Yopamayatanam Veda. Ayatanavan Bhavati. Rajadhirajaya Prasaya Sahine. Namo Vayam Vahi Shravanaya Kurmahe. Same Kaman Kama Kama Yahmahyam. Kameshwaro Vaihe Shravano Dadhatu. Kuberaya Vaishravanaya. Maharajaya Namaha. Yo Vedado Swarah Prokto Vedante Cha Pratishtitaha. Tasya Prakriti Linasya Yah Parasamaheshwaraha. Narayanye Cha Vidmahe Shakambhare Cha Dhimahi. Tatno Devi Prachodayate. Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha. Om Bhurbhuvassuvaha. Om Avahitabhyas Sarvabhyo Devatabhyo Namaha. Vedokta Mantra Pushpanjalim Samarpayami. Kale Varshantu Parjanyaha. Prithve Sasya Sahitni. Desho Hyam Kshobarahitaha. Brahmana Sandhu Nirbhaya. Bhagavata Sandhu Nirbhaya. Sajjana Sandhu Nirbhaya. Sarvechana Sandhu Nirbhaya. Swaste Prajabhyah Paripalayantam. Nyayena Margena Mahimahisha. Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam. Lokah Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu. Aim Kara Hrim Kara Rahasya Yukta. Shrim Kara Gudhartha Mahavibhutya. Om Kara Marma Pradipadinibhyam. Namo Namaha Shri Guru Padukabhyam. Ajnana Nashanaya Vidmahe Jnana Prakashaya Dhimahi. Tatno Guru Padukah Prachodayate. Om Shatamanam Bhavati Shatayuh Purushashatendriya Ayushevendrihe Pratitishthati. Om Sahatna Vavatu. Sahatna Bhunakto. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tatsate. Shri Devi Arpanamastu.
We offer this Sangha freely. Remember to join our Patreon, donate, volunteer, and spread the word about our upcoming move. Thanks for watching tonight, and namaste.